6 weeks after GPT 5.4, OpenAI shipped a model that wins 14 benchmarks in a row, but it still loses one to Claude. On April 23rd, OpenAI dropped GPT 5.5 Plus Pro Business. Enterprise users got it the same day. The API is delayed. OpenAI calls it their smartest model yet. More importantly, it is the first fully retrained base since GPT 4.5. That phrase matters more than the version number. Since GPT 4.5 in 2025, every OpenAI release was a refinement of the same base. GPT-5, GPT 5.4, all fine-tuned on top. GPT 5.5 is new weights from scratch. That is why the jump is not incremental. Architecture, training data, reward signal, all reset. It is the difference between patching a house and rebuilding the foundation. Here is the real shift. Older models answered prompts. GPT 5.5 runs loops. It plans, calls tools, runs code, checks its own work, keeps going until the task is done. OpenAI calls this Agentic. 5.5 is the first OpenAI flagship built for it, not bolted onto chat. That is why these benchmarks look weird. Look at the scores. Terminal Bench 2.0. Command line workflows. 82.7%. Up from 75 on GPT 5.4. Expert SWE coding. 73.1. Up from 68.5. GDPval. Across 44 real occupations. 84.9. OSWorld. Operating a real computer. 78.7. Tau 2 customer service workflows. 98. Browse Comp Pro. 90.1. Ahead of Gemini 3.1 Pro. Total state-of-the-art wins. 14. Opus 4.7 got 4. Gemini got 2. One benchmark goes the other way. SWE-Bench Pro. Real GitHub issues. End-to-end. GPT 5.5 solves 58.6%. Claude Opus 4.7 gets 64.3. That is a meaningful gap on the test developers actually care about. OpenAI flags possible memorization in the baseline. Maybe. For now, Claude still wins the coding agent crown. Context windows are mostly marketing. GPT 5.4 had 1 million tokens, but anyone who pushed past 128K watched it fall apart. GPT 5.5 actually holds up across the full window. OpenAI tested it with MRCR needles and graph walks. Pass rates stay high past 256K. That is the upgrade nobody is talking about. Unlocks real long document work. Here is the weird part on price. Standard tier, $5 per million input tokens. $30 per million output. That is double GPT 5.4. Pro variant goes to 30 in, 180 out. But OpenAI says 5.5 uses significantly fewer tokens to finish the same task. So per token you pay more. Per outcome, you often pay less. Depends on your workload. Safety classification is a first. GPT 5.5 hits high on both biochemical and cybersecurity under OpenAI's preparedness framework. High cyber has never happened before. API access got delayed because of it. So OpenAI introduced a new gate: trusted access for cyber, verified defenders, security researchers, red teams, incident response. Can apply at chatgpt.com/cyber for fewer restrictions. First-tiered cyber access policy from a frontier lab. Expect others to copy it. Step back. GPT-5 shipped August 2025. 5.3 in January. 5.4 in March. 5.5 in April. OpenAI is compressing releases because Anthropic and Google are right on top of them. Claude Opus 4.7 still owns coding. Gemini 3.1. Pro is closer than the headlines suggest. GPT 5.5 buys OpenAI maybe 2 months of lead before the next Claude or Gemini reshuffles the ranking. The race is not tightening, it is accelerating. Recap. GPT 5.5. First fully retrained base since 4.5. Agentic by design. State-of-the-art on 14 benchmarks. Still loses SWE Pro to Claude. 1 million context that actually works. Double price. Often lower cost per task. High cyber tier with a new access gate. Biggest OpenAI move in a year. Want more newshook breakdowns? Subscribe to Bitwise AI. Drop a comment. Are you switching to 5.5 or staying on Claude?